Hello, it's Fabio with Patterns on the Fly. Today I'll show you to tie the classic Pheasant Tail Nymph. Hope you enjoy the video and we'll see you next week.
Okay, we're gonna tie a Pheasant Tail Nymph. Already put hook on my vices. An Orvis 1524 size 16 hook. This is a 2x long hook. I already put a copper bead. This is a size 3/32, which is 2.4 millimeter, and it's in copper color. I'm going to add a few wraps of lead-free wire. This is size 0.015. I'm gonna add about 7-8 wraps. And I'm going to push that wire inside the bead. And I'm going to cut the this tag end of the lead wire. I'm going to use my nails to push those tips down. Okay. Then I'm going to get some brown thread. This is a nano silk size 18-0. This is in brown, but you can use size 6-0 or 70 denier brown thread. I'm gonna lay a few thread wraps right behind the lead wire so it'll stay in place. I am going to cut the tag end of my thread off. And I'm gonna build a little dam to fill the gap right behind those lead wire wraps. Then I'm gonna get some copper wire, size small. I'm going to get a few inches so I can tie a few of these flies, and then I'm going to secure it right against the end of those lead wire wraps, like so. I'm going to go all the way to where the bend of the hook starts. Then I have a pheasant tail feather right here. I'm going to get 5-6 fibers. I'm going to cut them off the stem. Here they are. I'm going to lay them across the hook shank, make a couple of loose thread wraps, and then I'm going to pull the butt ends so I can get the right length for those tails. We want those tails to be, you know, half the length of the hook shank. I'm going to fold over the pheasant tail fibers there. And then I'm going to fill this gap right behind the tail of this fly. And I'm going to do my darnest to make a carrot shape so that the body gradually gets bigger as I move from the base of the tail towards the head of the fly, which is where the bead is. Now I'm going to use my fingers to palmer the pheasant tail fibers and create the body for this fly. You can use aqua pliers if you prefer. Sometimes it's quicker and easier for me to just use my fingers. I'm going to lift them up, the butt ends, and go with my thread a couple of times. And we create a pretty nice conic shape for the abdomen of this fly. I'm going to cut those butt ends off, and now I'm going to counter, using my copper wire, I'm going to counter wrap those pheasant tail fibers wraps. I'm going to lift the wire up. And I'm going to go over it with my thread in front and in behind a couple of times. I'm going to get my old scissors and cut that wire off like so. So now that we completed that step, I'm going to get some more pheasant tail fibers. And we're going to use this to build the legs for this fly and the shellback. So I'm going to cut, I don't know, 8, 10 of these fibers. There's no right or wrong number. I'm going to make sure that the tips are all about the same length, which they're about the same. And then I'm gonna all these fibers with the tips going past extending the bead. I'm gonna make these a little shorter. And then I'm gonna secure this material in place with a few thread wraps. I don't want these to be sliding around like so. So now we have the butt ends of those pheasant tail fibers in the back, and we have the tips in the front. Then I'm gonna get a couple of peacock herl fibers. I'm gonna cut the tips as the probably the most fragile part, and I'm gonna secure them right in that gap between the bead and the bottom part of those pheasant tail fibers. And then I'm gonna palmer the peacock herl to build the thorax for this fly. I'm gonna lift them up, lift the butt ends, and go over with my thread a couple of times to lock them in place. And I'm gonna do that in front as well. I'm gonna reach in with my scissors and cut the excess off. So now I'm going to use my thumb to separate these pheasant tail tips. I want to make sure we have about, even number. Like so. And I'm going to create a little gap. I'm going to divide them up and create a little gap where I can use to fold over the butt ends of the pheasant tail fibers. And that allows me to create the shellback. And then I'm going to push the pheasant tail fibers tips backwards. And I'm going to I'm going to lock in place the pheasant tail fibers to create the shellback for this fly. Then I'm going to get my whip finisher and whip finish the fly. When I get my scissors, cut the thread off, and I'm going to use my fingers to, tips of my fingers to adjust those fibers so I can create the effect of the legs for this fly. You can use your nail to prop those tails in the back, but here's the pheasant tail nymph. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and we will see you next week.